welcome back to my channel. My name is Adele Ashley, and I have my July 2024 reading wrap up. Quite honestly, I read 8 books this month, and I'm actually so shocked that I did because a lot happened outside of like YouTube and content and everything else in real life. And I'm shocked I managed to make it through 8 books. But one of the first books I read for the year was The Fury by Alex Michaelides. This was actually a book club pick for my in-person book club, and I ended up really enjoying it. Our theme for the month was a book that we had read before, and I was so skeptical going into it when The Fury came up because I've never read The Silent Patient. They did for a meeting. One of the first meetings was The Silent Patient, but I did not go to that one, so I never picked it up. And The Fury, for me, I was excited for it when it first came out. I heard the story, the plot, and I was like, this book sounds so interesting. And I picked it up, and I just could not connect with it at all when I first got it. It was just weird to me. I didn't really like it, and I put it down. I actually DNF'd that book. So when it came up as a book club pick, I was like, okay, I guess I need to finally read this book, and I ended up really enjoying it. I found that the narrator is super unreliable, which is not really that surprising. And then there's like this plot twist that kind of happens at the, I guess, like 75% mark in, where all of a sudden you're like, oh, this is what's really happening. And it's also a closed door thriller, which I don't usually enjoy closed door thrillers at all. Like, they're not my thing. But I keep saying, I liked this. I enjoyed it. I wanted to know what happened next. I loved hearing about these rich people who were on this island just doing absolutely nothing, I guess. But getting up to a whole bunch of trouble, and one of them dies. It was really good. It did make me want to kind of read The Silent Patient as well, just based on the ending of it. And I was like, oh, maybe I should pick up The Silent Patient and see what happens there. But all in all, it's another book that I'm like glad that I was forced to read through book club. After that, I decided to dive into the Lakefront Billionaires series by Lauren Asher. So far, there's only 2 books in the series. There is the Love Redesigned and Love Unwritten, and it is essentially set in this community called Lake Wisteria. I did do a whole books I read because of TikTok video on this, so I'm not going to talk too much about these 2 books, but essentially Love Redesigned follows Dahlia and Raphael, who are like childhood friends, frenemies turned lovers, and they are kind of like thrown back together as adults. And then Love Unwritten follows Ellie. It follows Ellie, I believe her name was. She is a singer who is also the nanny for Raphael, who is from book 1. It's his cousin. It was good. Both of these books were 3-star reads for me. I did enjoy them. It was fun. It was light. I probably will continue reading the series, to be totally honest. I did mention it in my TikTok video, but I had previously read Lauren Asher's Formula One series, and we have established that I am a sports romance girly, so it is super easy for me to fall into a sports romance and absolutely love it. Love Unwritten and Love Redesigned are definitely not sports romances, but they're still good. There's no sports. I guess is what it is. But I did like it. Raphael does some things that I found were so nice and so sweet for Ellie, and then Julian and Dahlia are just fun. After that, I dove into Play Along by Liz Tomforde, which was easily one of the books that I was most looking forward to reading this month. I pretty much picked it up the day it came out. And essentially it follows Isaiah, who is Kai from book 3's brother, and Kennedy K, who is the athletic therapist for the team. We discover in this book that Kennedy is actually like a doctor. Like, she has her full Girlie's a doctor. She's not just the athletic therapist on the team. And she's been working with this therapist or this head doctor who's just really annoying and everything else. And she goes and kind of accidentally marries Isaiah one day while they are in Vegas. Isaiah is, of course, overjoyed about this because he has been crushing on her for so long, and the two of them essentially realize that they need to play along and pretend to be married to save both of their jobs. Kennedy, of course, slowly starts to fall in love with Isaiah. Isaiah has been in love with Kennedy since essentially the first day he met her. And, you know, it was good. It was nice to dive back into the Windy City universe. I have seen a lot of people say that Kennedy and Isaiah's story is like the best one yet. And for me, it was not there. I definitely think, it was good, but it was not my favorite. I think Kai is so good in book 3. Ryan Shea from book 2 is amazing as well. I enjoyed it, I guess. I just didn't connect with it as much as the other books in the series. But I did like seeing the other characters kind of like pop in here and there. After that, I dove into another sports romance, The Game Changer by Lana Ferguson. And it's not a secret that I like Lana Ferguson's books. I really enjoyed The Nanny when it first came out. I did read her second book. I'm completely blanking on what it was called. All I know is I did not enjoy that book at all. It was like a supernatural one. But The Game Changer follows it's a brother's best friend romance, and essentially set in the hockey world, and essentially our main character's brother's best friend moves back to their city to play for the local hockey team. His parents also happen to own it. He left years previously because of a controversy, and she just has always been kind of like in love with him since she was a child. It has been a childhood crush for her. She is now this baker. She has a TV show, like very much kind of like a Martha Stewart-esque baking show that she is running on the local TV station. And to help with her brother's best friends, wow, say that many times, to help with her brother's best friend's PR problem and to help with her ratings, he comes on the show. The two of them end up kind of like falling into this relationship and finally exploring her feelings and their feelings from before he finally sees her. And it's just like a fun little book. It's a fun little hockey romance. I do have to say, this is a lot deeper than I thought it would be. He has to deal with a couple of things that happened in his past. So there is a bit of like dark moments, or like moments where they have to discuss some like pretty heavy topics, and I actually really enjoyed it. It was nice. It wasn't just like a fluffy romance. There was like actually stuff that happened in the book, which was good. And then after that, I dove into the Rom-COmmers by Katherine Center. I love Katherine Center books, and full disclosure, I actually received an advanced reader copy of this book, and I received it way back in, I want to say it was like January through March. Like it was early in the year that or even last year potentially, that I received this book. And the thing with Katherine Center books is I find that I receive the advanced copies of them and I tend to sit on them because I love her writing so much, and it's almost like I don't want to dive into the book because I don't want it to end. But one thing I've also noticed is that I always tend to pick up a Katherine Center book at the time that I need it the most. It's usually the moment that I'm like, you know what, this is what's bothering me, and I pick up the book, or I'm going through a difficult time and I just want something that's a little bit escapist, and her books always are perfect for whatever I need. So yeah, essentially I really enjoyed this. It follows this girl Emma, who is a screenwriter, but she's also taking care of her ailing father. She heads to she gets the opportunity to write for Charlie Yates, who is like this big blockbuster, like kind of like a Michael Bay character. Like he does all these like action movies, and he's trying his hand at writing a rom-com. So she goes out to help him write this rom-com, and she soon discovers that there's like nothing romantic at all about this man. So she tries her best to teach him to do better. They go on fake dates. It's it's just fun from start to finish, and I can't recommend it enough. From there, I then dove into the series that just about everyone has been talking about. I finally picked up Letters of Enchantment. I did do a poll a little bit earlier in the month that asked, like, hey, like, what should I read more of in July? And fantasy by far was the winner. Unfortunately, I did only read 2 fantasy books and like 6 romance books, so I didn't really like break out of my romance rut. No one voted for me to stick with romance, but I'm really kind of happy with the books that I ended up reading. I do think this series, it's not really like a romantasy, because it's not like Fourth Wing or ACOTAR, where you definitely could say that they're like romantasy. The romance is there, but I quickly realized that this is actually a YA book. Both in terms of like writing and style and kind of like world building, and like it's totally fine. There's nothing wrong with YA books. I think I just never really thought that it could be a YA book. So essentially, I have to kind of chuckle here. I completely forgot how many letters were in Enchantment, and my spacing was off, which, my perfectionist heart is a bit like, what are you doing there? But essentially the books in the series is Divine Rivals, which is book 1, which kind of sets the stage. I listened to this on audiobook, and then it's followed by Ruthless Vows, which I did a combination of audio and ebook for. When I tell you, these books had me absolutely hooked. Like, I was like, what happens next in Iris's world? What is Roman doing? Like, I need to know. I did find the book a little bit difficult to get into when I first started it, but I do feel that way about a lot of a lot of fantasy books. And I also really struggled with the fact that I just was confused. I kept thinking that I forgot something or that I missed something in the story. And really, it's just that I realized that I wanted a lot more. I wanted more world building, more history of the gods. I do like the idea of magical typewriters. And I almost wish we could get a glimpse of what the original 3 were typing to each other with these typewriters. I really, really wanted there to be more, I guess, in this book. I wanted to find out about Iris and a little bit more about how she got the typewriter. And when we find out about them, I want to know more about the backstory of them. And I just find they didn't like dive deep enough for me. And truly, the moment that I realized that this is a YA book is, spoiler alert, when they get married. Like, just out of nowhere, it's just like, ooh, we're gonna get married. And I was like, okay, like, cool. Like, looked at you and sent you a letter. And then there's the second book is Ruthless Vows. It's pretty much the same. I did still want more. I did like getting to meet the gods a little bit more, but I just wish we got to meet Enva more, because the way she is, like, we don't really see her until the very end. We don't really like have them talking about her or anything else. So all in all, I mean, it's a 3-star read for me. I enjoyed it. I mean, I finished both of them and I really liked it. So I can't really complain when it comes to the book. After there, I just went into filling in my my little tracker spreads. So Love Redesigned is going in for my L title, and The Game Changer for G. For authors, I have Katherine Center is taking my C spot with the Rom-COmmers, and Liz Tomforde is taking T with Play Along. And then for the bingo, I realized that I'm actually really close to getting some of these. So the first one I filled out was start a new series. So Divine Rivals is going there. Actually, Lakefront Billionaires is going there. I was considering putting Divine Rivals there, but then I realized that if I put Divine Rivals as fantasy, because it is, I am one away. I just need to read a Goodreads Choice Award winner, and I can get my complete align there, which is super exciting. In terms of the romance tropes, I read Single Parent, so that is Love Unwritten by Lauren Asher, is my single parent romance. And then in terms of my second one is He Falls First, so number 3 with Play Along by Liz Tomforde, because I'm sorry, Isaiah Rhodes was down bad for Kennedy K from the first day that he met her. um, that is like the epitome of he falls first right there. And then I realized that I probably should update my series tracker as well. I do need to go through and like update all my trackers, to be totally honest, because I have not really done that. Like, looking at this now, as I do this voiceover, I'm like, you know what? You probably have read a thriller. And then in terms of best book, I really hemmed and hawed, and I really wanted this to be This Summer Will Be Different because I absolutely loved that book. I just enjoyed it, I think is what it is, as opposed to Evil Eye, which was my highest rated book. And then for the month of July, as you saw there, Katherine Center is going in as my top book of the month. And then just updating my reading tracker. So like I said at the beginning, July was a really busy month, especially from like the middle onwards. Like, so much happened and I'm dealing with so much behind the scenes that I'm actually surprised that I managed to finish 8 books this month, and a lot of that happened in like the second half of the month. I do think maybe I was using reading as just kind of like a way to process things. I also started reading a lot on my commute as well and listening to books, so I think that has helped. But yeah, essentially, those are all the books that I read in July 2024, all 8 of them. As always, I love to chat with you guys in the comments and find out what you're reading or your thoughts or just kind of like what you're going through. And as always, feel free to like, comment, and subscribe. And I hope you have an amazing day.